Please silence. Welcome everybody to the Manham Brothers of the Brush candidate site. Thank you all for coming, and those 1,000 people that are watching on cable, thank you. We'll have the candidates come up, introduce themselves, give us their visions, and then obviously any questions you need to ask of them. But now I'd like to introduce the president of the brothers, Chad Labasty. Chad?
Thanks, everybody. Glad you all could come. This is something we like to do every year to give the candidates an opportunity to introduce themselves, talk a little bit about themselves, and answer any questions people might have. Going to go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to lead us off with the Pledge of Allegiance and then hand everything over to Dickie Ferrucci. So can I have everybody stand?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Are you ready, Chad? Chad's going to have a wireless mic in case you'd like to ask some questions, and we hope you do. He's got to earn his duty tonight. So first on the ballot will be a moderator for 1 year. That's Thomas Maroli. Tom, would you please come up? Candidate for re-election.
I have the,
No, you're going to come up, Tommy. You're going to come up here.
oh, I think I'm up.
You run your meeting on Friday night. We run this meeting.
This is what happens when I'm being moderated, you know? Well, thank you for having me. Thomas Morali, town moderator for the past few years, asking for another year. I really have enjoyed being the moderator this past 2 years. Open town meeting government is one of the most, if not the most democratic form of government that the United States has. It gives everybody a say, everybody a vote. And you know, it's really easy in a town like Mendon where everybody is so respectful of each other's opinions, where everybody is so thoughtful in their deliberations. I really enjoy being up there. Past few years, we've implemented some ways to make town meeting run smoother. One being electronic voting. I think it's been a benefit for sure. Another, you know, we try before the meeting to do a run through, discussing the articles, something we've done for a number of years now, but I'm really trying to make sure people are educated about what they're voting on before we hold the meeting. And I'm always looking for ways to improve town meetings. So I ask not only for your vote, but I ask for your feedback as well on, you know, these meetings we have once or twice a year that dictate our budgets, any issues of importance that the town wants to, matters of importance the town wants to take. I really appreciate your feedback on what we can do to improve it. If you have questions about the specifics of the town meeting itself, please reach out. My email is tmorali@mendonma.gov. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Again, like, we all take part in this wonderful form of government, and you know, it should be collaborative manner to improve it as well. So please look forward to hearing from you. I ask for your vote. And yeah, make sure you show up to town meeting. Next one, I think, will probably be in November. It's going to be the special town meeting, and there's always important things, even if it might not seem that pressing. We always love to have as many people show up as possible. Thank you.
So Tommy, I got a couple of questions.
Oh, geez.
First of all, where's the envelope for you sitting beside me?
The envelope? Oh.
I think that those little electronic things are a great idea.
Mhm.
A great idea, because I remember years ago, you'd have the hand vote.
Yep.
Then you send your folks up in the aisles, count them. Then you had to go back and verify the number. Didn't seem like a good way to do business. Can you get a bigger one next year that can have, like, can you order pizza or something, or?
Or, well, why don't we do like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, you know, with like you poll the audience instead. We
Tommy, don't take it to the next level. Just answer the question.
No, I mean, the ones we did get, I think are working pretty well, and I think, we did, we did come up with a good amount of chunk of money to buy them. I mean, the one thing I am concerned about, I guess you could say, if I am concerned about anything, is that town meeting will become so popular because I'm doing such a good job running it that we'll run out of remotes and we'll have to get more. So.
It's not a bad idea,
Like that's the one thing I do worry about, is that so many people show up to town meeting that we run on our remotes. That's a problem I'd hope we'd have actually, because that would mean that
Tommy, in the course of a year, I know things change, new laws, new procedures.
absolutely.
How often do you go to, let's say, so-called meetings to get updated, or do you get updated just by emails or?
Well, I mean, I like to take part in various boards and committee meetings. I will pop in whenever I can remotely. I also look at the meeting minutes, the agendas. I'm on some boards here in town. I'm on the zoning board of appeals for one. I'm in the economic development committee. So I'm very active other than town meeting. Just that this
Right.
role is the one where I feel like conducting the town meeting is something that I enjoy
Right.
doing, and I think it's something that I'd like to keep doing.
So the moderators in Massachusetts, you must have a group, right? Association?
Yep.
So you go periodically to get updates
Oh, yeah.
on
Oh,
what?
yep.
what's
There's a
coming?
Moderators Association for Massachusetts. There's meetings at least once a year. They discuss like basically best practices, how to best conduct the town meeting. Basically, there's also like a group online of moderators that kind of bounces ideas off each other as well. So
Good.
yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
we're kind of all talking to each other all the time,
Thank you.
saying what works in towns, what doesn't work, and kind of trying to make things better overall.
Anybody at all? Any questions that may come up? Any changes? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got all the remotes back, because if I didn't, I would have heard about it and been in a lot of trouble. So I've not heard anything. And as far as I know, all the remotes did come back, because I haven't.
I noticed, I don't know about a neighboring town, but I know 2 other towns are using the same system.
Yeah.
So I just think it's more efficient.
Oh, absolutely. And the other thing too, I think what I've noticed is, if you look at the amount of people who have filed in, like show up to town meeting, look at some of the proceedings from the meetings before we use those things, you'll see that the number of people that actually showed up to town meeting versus the amount of people who are registered on the hand counts for voting. There's a number of people who might not want their vote to be seen, I think. Who this way it's kind of always a secret ballot, right? And I think that's good, because I don't think people should have to feel like they can't register what their actual voice on an issue is.
So that makes sense. Tommy, do we have anybody online that,
Anybody online who should ask a question? Seeing any hands raised at the moment?
okay. Anybody else? That's it? Tommy, thank you for your service.
Thank
and
you.
good luck
Thank
to
you for having me.
Thank you. Brendan Chanelli, a select board for 20 years? I don't have my glasses, Brendan. What's it for, Brendan? Come right up. You selling those shirts?
I'll have to ask my wife. She made it for me.
Call her up. So we sell 10 of them here tonight, like nothing.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
All right. So, hello, everyone. My name is Brendan Chanel, candidate for re-election to the Mendon Select Board. So seeking a 3-year term. So first of all, thank you for coming out to hear my little speech tonight. I'm a little nervous about it, but I think it'll go all right. So first of all, it's hard to believe that 2 years have gone by since I've been in this position. I've really learned a lot, working with some very talented people on a 5-member board. Learned a lot too, about town government, how to listen to constituents, how to look at all sides of an issue and things like that. The reason I'm running is I would like an opportunity to finish what I started. I feel like there's a lot of work that we as a board have started in the last 2 years. I feel like I still have something to give, and I'd like an opportunity to complete that. So growing up, my father was a select board member, a member of the ZBA, in my hometown. So I have a strong tradition of public service in my family. So I want to continue that, give back to the community and help guide Mendon towards a bigger town.
Good, thank you, thank you. Any questions at all? And what do you see, and I know you can't speak for the board, speak for yourself.
Sure.
What do you see in the next year or two, things that are gonna be facing the town of Mendon that we're really gonna have to look at?
So there's a few things. So we're kind of at a crossroads here. So Mendon is a small town. We've done things a certain way for a long time. And although we are a small town, we are growing and there's no way to stave off growth. So the challenge is positioning ourselves correctly to be able to either take advantage of the growth and have the right organization in place so that we can deal with it and not get overwhelmed. Also, budgets are always a concern. Inflation doesn't just hit the residents, it hits the town as well. Fuel, cost of materials, everything that we do in town is going up just like it goes up at the grocery store. So keeping that in mind and being fiscally responsible is very important.
So you mentioned in your opening remarks that you would like to continue the things you started.
Yes.
Just give us like one or two of those.
Sure. So one thing that's interesting about the 5-member board is that we are able to kind of split off into working groups and focus on things that we have a speciality in. For instance, I'm a member of the IT working group as well as the select board policy group. So as part of those working groups, we're updating and modernizing the select board policies and procedures to make sure that there's consistency board to board, because right now it's governed mostly by tradition. You know, we've always done it this way, so this is what we do. But it'd be nice if it was written down and a written policy so that it's consistent as we go forward.
I know coffee shop talk. When we went to a 5-member board a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yes.
And I know you're gonna speak for yourself. You're not speaking for the board. Is that a workable situation, having 5 members on a board?
I think so. It was definitely, I think I can only speak for myself because I never was part of the 3-member board. I think there was a learning curve. But the thing that it does allow is that focusing, have sub-quorum groups working on a specific thing.
Good. Well, I thank you for your service. Anybody? Oh, yes, John. Could you please stand and recognize your name and where you live, please?
You can hear me. Okay, all right. Yeah, how is the selectmen doing with the capital planning committee? Because I think that's probably the most important committee there is in town right now to plan the future
Yeah.
of the
So
town. The budget.
Agree. So one thing that the board has been working on is implementing a more concrete capital planning process. And I don't want to speak for the board, but we have
Yeah, I know
another
that.
member here that has been working on that, basically taking inventory of everything in town, coming up with a 5-year plan and really formalizing the process so that it happens every year and doesn't get forgotten about.
To keep
Once-
the
and
debt
then-
ceiling low.
Yeah, exactly. And then once there's kind of a critical mass, that the capital planning committee has kind of atrophied a little bit. It can be reinitialized.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Tommy, do we have anybody on
Let me ask anyone that's joined us recently, does anyone out there have a question of Brendan? Please raise your hand there.
Did you paint everybody off?
Not seeing any hands raised, Dick, so
Anybody else?
Any softball questions?
Who's gonna win the game tonight? Celtics.
So I guess it's Brendan and not Brendan, right? Because
Brendan.
otherwise it wouldn't rhyme.
Correct. That is correct.
All right.
That's it?
Good question.
Really? Brendan, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
I owe this guy an awful lot of money. Board of Assessors to fill a vacancy, and I understand officially we have a write-in candidate. First of all, officially, so why don't, Kevin, why don't you come up first then? Who? Why do I want to introduce Mike Maroli for selectman? So you're running for assessors? I think you better stay in that position. Do you want to come up and say a few words about your write-in campaign? Thank you. Did you pay for Mike to be on? Oh, he did? Oh.
How you doing, Dick?
Good, buddy.
I'm Kevin Rudden, and I'm actually running for re-election to a fourth term on the Board of Assessors. I'm embarrassed to say I missed getting on the ballot by about 4 signatures. And candidly, I had a chance to go to some free work training that was very important, or spend the next 2 days getting signatures, and I chose the work training because I have to pay the rent. The reason why I'm running again is very simple. We're in the middle of a major transition. We're losing our longtime assessor, Gene Berthold, after 33 years with the town and 30 years as our principal assessor. He's retiring the first week of August. And as a board member, I want to make sure that we hire the right replacement person, and that we help that person get acclimated to Mendon and how Mendon works. And that I'm there as a resource if that person needs anything. By profession, for the last 5 years, I have been an assessor. I'm the principal assessor in the town of Holliston, nearby. I'm an accredited mass assessor. I think it's very rare that with fellow board member Ken O'Brien is also an accredited assessor and a full-time assessor. You don't see that in a lot of towns. So we bring a lot to the office. And contrary to popular belief, assessors do not raise your taxes. We look at your valuation. Most of what happens to the tax rate happened Friday night at the town meeting, and that's everybody's vote, not just ours. But I hope you'll see fit to write me in and reelect me.
Kevin, any questions of Kevin at all? Anybody on, does Mike want to ask him a question?
no, we just want to point out, we do have Mike, and Mike is the other candidate for select board as well as Brendan. I think that's what Kevin was trying.
Oh,
point out.
I didn't know he was going to.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Oh, I didn't know that. Mike, I'm sorry. Well, anyway, let's get done with Kevin. Anybody else got any questions of Kevin? Kevin, thank you for your service. I appreciate it.
Thank
you. So before we go to Mr. Maroli, let's just, you and I converse a little bit.
Okay.
And I was told that Mike was not going to be here.
Well,
No, I was told that Mike was not going to be here.
Pleasantly
So I'm talking the egg back to you.
surprised that Mike has joined us.
Mike, welcome.
How are you?
We're fine, thank you. Mike Maroli, candidate for re-election. Mike?
Right.
Would you like to see if,
Sure. The last 3 years went by quick. I think we've had a lot of success. And I really think the success has been due to the additional involvement and the additional communication that we've really enjoyed. A few years ago, there were some folks that created a citizens petition to require that all town meetings, all public meetings be recorded and broadcast. And there was some pushback by some of the boards because they didn't want that. Well, I'm not going to suggest why they didn't, but initially some of the boards and committees resisted it. So we went back to town meeting and created a bylaw that required that all meetings would be recorded and broadcast, and it was approved by the Attorney General's office. So now every meeting, every public meeting is recorded, and it's put up on YouTube so people can go back and watch it if they weren't available to go to the meeting. So now instead of having to go out and physically be in the room, you can watch it as some people are remotely here. And if you couldn't log on because you had other commitments, then you're able to go back on YouTube and watch. And I think it really helps people to understand what goes on. We've also got a lot of online documents like budgeting that people can get access to, so everyone can easily see at their fingertips exactly what's going on. And I think it makes it easier to be on these boards and committees. You had asked Brendan, who I've immensely enjoyed serving with the last couple of years that he's been on there. I've really enjoyed the 5-member board. I think it's incredibly successful. One of the challenges with having a 3-member board is 2 members make a quorum. And what that means is you really can't discuss things with any substance with another member of the board, except at a meeting, because it always constitutes a quorum, and it would always constitute an illegal meeting. And once we pass the law to make it a 5-member board, 2 of us aren't a quorum. So we can, discuss things in anticipation of a meeting, and it really does help to discuss things and get your thoughts straight. I think it makes good government. So I think the combination of those 2 issues of having more people having a say on the board, and also having the recordings and the broadcast, make people, it demystifies some things, and it also, I think, has allowed more people to get involved and be interested to get involved. And I think it all just makes good government.
Good, thank you, Mike. Does anyone have any questions of Mike? We can't tell if anybody's on asking. Okay, anybody?
Anybody that is tuned in remotely, have a question for Mike Raleigh?
I just got here. What's his position?
I'm a member of the select board. I'm the current chair. I've been the chair.
The
of
current
select
chairman of the
for-
Board of Selectmen.
for 2 years. And for those of you that maybe don't realize, if you've got mail-in ballots already, you'll see that there are 2 people on the ballot. Both Brendan and I are up for re-election. So the way it works is every year there's 1 or 2 members who are completing a 3-year term. I'm completing a 3-year term. Brendan was one of the first elected to the new 5-member board, so he served a 2-member term. So we had a 1-year term, a 2-year term, and a 3-year term. Elena Brugos is finishing up the 3rd year of a 3-year term, so she'll be up next year.
Right.
So this year it's Brendan and I, so that you can vote for, you don't have to vote for both of us, but you can vote for both of us.
So
We're
Mike,
both running unopposed.
Very quickly, I'm not.
You should have kept with, you have to vote.
Right.
We asked Brandon about what he foresees to be something that you're going to be working hard on that we should be aware of in the future. What are your thoughts on anything?
Well, I agree with something else he said about, unfinished business. Because what we accomplished and what we did in the last couple of years, not us, but the town, completed a master plan, which we tried many times, and I also want to give really give kudos to Billy Ambrosino, because, you know, he's been a long time chair of the planning board. He's worked hard for the town and was able to, you know, get it done this time and create this master plan. And there were a lot of suggestions in that master plan that, you know, we're trying to help implement. And specifically, we had a financial review done for the Department of Revenue, Division of Local Services. And they gave us a bunch of recommendations, and we're in the process of that now. And they made a lot of recommendations, everything from, you know, passing some more bylaws, to, you know, focusing on the capital plan, because as John Vanis was asked about the capital plan process, you know, we actually had people resign from it because we really didn't have a lot of money to spend on any capital things. And, you know, we got a jump start with some ARPA funds, you know, that were given to us during COVID that let us catch up on, you know, we were able to replace a fire truck, and, you know, we're able to put more money into the roads. So there are things on that master plan and things on that Division of Local Services recommendations that we're in the process of finishing. So we're just not done yet.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Anybody
Sure.
else? No other questions? Mike, thank you for your service and appreciate everything you've done.
All right. Thanks, Dickie.
Thanks. Good night. I don't think you heard that because you left.
Yeah, well, it happens, I guess.
He's still on.
Now
I
I'd
didn't
like
go,
to.
I'm not going anywhere. I just figured that you saw enough of my face. So that's all. I'm still here.
Did you hear the applause, Mike?
I did not, but that,
Here we go.
Would you like to hear it again louder or?
yeah, no, tell the Commodore I'm all set.
I'd like to call the write-in candidate for the 2-year term of the Board of Assessors, and that's Dave Kersey. Dave? Don't say a word. Did you? Every time I shake hands with Dave, there's always a $5 bill in there.
And whose hand?
Yeah, inflation.
Go for it, buddy.
All right. Good evening. My name is Dave Kersey. Most of you know me as the police chief in town. I've lived in Mendon now for about 25 years or so. I've been in the police department for about 27, police chief for past 8. I currently also serve as the vice chair of the senior/community center building committee. I'm just looking to fill in this spot right now to help out. So a few weeks ago, I was talking to Kevin Rudden, and he was saying that they had a vacancy and no one had put in the paperwork, that they've been short on the board for a while. And I told him I'd help out, but at first I had to think about it. So spent about a week thinking about it, thinking about, hey, I'm always preaching to everybody to get involved with the community, to run for something, to come to town meeting. So, I started thinking I probably should put my money where my mouth is and, maybe start that trend and get more people involved. Obviously, we don't have a lot of competition for seats in town, and sometimes we have vacancies. So it's important to be a part of your community, to get involved with it. If you're a longtime resident or a new resident, you should run for a position. You should get involved with town government. From my perspective, I looked at it, as being a municipal employee. It's always good to know about every section of the municipal government. My background was finances originally. I went to Bryan College for a couple of years before I became a police officer, and then left Bryan to pursue law enforcement. So I do have a financial background, and I deal with the budgets in the town. I run the police department budget for a period of time. I was the fire chief for a couple of years, ran that budget and a couple other budgets. So I look at it as a good experience for me to learn a little bit more about municipal government on a different side, to give back to my community, and do a couple of years, and then hopefully encourage someone else to step in after me.
That's great, Dave. Anybody have any other questions of Dave on assessors? Tom, you had anybody up?
Let's see, anybody It's called in remotely. Have a question for Dave? Raise your hand. Nope, not seeing any hands raised.
We're gonna have Peg come up at the end
Okay.
to talk about question one. But do you want to give a minute or two on the community center?
I can do what Peg at the end if you want.
Okay,
Get
we'll
all
do-
of them together.
We'll do it
Get
together.
the other
Good.
candidates in, then we'll
Yeah,
back up.
good. Thank
Sound
you.
good?
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Davey. Planning Board for 3 years, Eric Hodge. Eric? Hmm. 3 years. Well, you gotta reprint the ballot. Anyway.
It
go
does
ahead,
say sample on it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Eric Hodge. I live at 3 Bates Street, and I am running for the open seat for planning board. I've been in town for almost 10 years now, since 2014. And really kind of that moment that I moved in kind of started my interest in the planning board. When we first moved in, we were starting to ask about, hey, what's that abandoned house next to us zoned as? And it just so happens that, as we were moving in, that's when the highway business district was voted into town and, became part of our bylaws. And so, kind of from that point there on, my interest, was admittedly self-serving. I just kind of wanted to know what was going to go on with the place next door to me. And so I've been involved with the planning board ever since, regularly attending the meetings. What I've found is that, in the, past couple of years is that my interest in, all matters planning has kind of extended beyond, just my property to what else is going on in town. And, how do I feel about it as a resident and less so about, just my specific section of town. One of the things that I've kind of tried to tell people as I've been running for planning board is, that I'm just a resident, right? I don't own a business in town, and I want to represent that voice on the board. And I think the other thing that I've found is that, I've had to challenge the board a bit on, some projects that have been nearby to my home. And, I've been particularly interested in making sure that we're, conforming to the bylaws that we have. And, for me, that looks like conforming to the bylaws as written on the books. And if we don't like those, then let's change them, but let's go through the process to change them rather than, kind of playing it by ear and seeing, seeing how we want to interpret them in the moment. To me, it's, kind of black and white written down in the bylaws. So that's kind of my position. And I know that as I got asked, do I want to run for planning board? I said, is that too simple of a position? And, time and again, I was told, no, actually, it's not. It's what people want to hear from the planning board. So that's kind of me and why I'm running. I hope that resonates with you. And if so, I'd love to earn your vote come next week. But yeah, that's me.
Any questions of Eric? Must be some thoughts out there. Could you use that so so everyone can hear you, please?
Can you hear me now? I have a concern of overdeveloping. I'm a newcomer. I've been here almost 7 years. And I came from Norfolk and they just developed and developed and developed. And this is a beautiful town. And my concern, if the Varney brothers ever release a lot of their land, this town will look like Newton, Mass, instead of Mendon, Mass. That's my major concern.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a valid concern. I mean, one of the things that I thought of or that resonated with me when I moved to town was, I remember going to the town's website and there's something, along the lines of, small community or, something, like that really was the town's identity right out on the website. And I was like, okay, that's a place that I'd like to live. But you're right, we have seen an explosion in development. And, in particular, one of the things that I'm pretty sensitive to right now is, large warehouse type buildings going up, whether it's in our town or in, surrounding towns. For me, one of the things that I'm interested in is kind of leveraging, one of the bylaws that allows us to make sure that we're doing, impact assessments. Whether that's, community impact assessment or traffic impact assessment or, things of that nature, and leveraging those with developers that are coming for the board. And I really want to hear, how they see their project and, use that as inputs into the decision.
No, I understand that, and especially like coming in from like Home Depot, sometimes the traffic is backed up all the way on Hartford Ave to that last light there.
Yeah.
And it's a slow going if you don't hit it right.
Yeah.
And you can be 20 minutes, 25 minutes at the worst.
Yeah.
Which is, it is what it is, but if we keep building and building, it might be an hour,
One of the things I have to commend the current board on is the practice that they've adopted of, leveraging third parties to conduct peer review assessments, for things, specifically like traffic. So that's a practice that's, recently come to the board that I've enjoyed seeing, and it really kind of takes, kind of the board and the developer out of the question. It's just additional information in the decision. So,
Thank you, Eric. We appreciate it. Anybody else? Thank you, and
Thank you.
wish you well.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. So I think what I'm going to ask, Peg, would you come up? Chief, would you come up? Is there anybody else here on your committee that's here that you want to bring up? So,
I'll sit on the other side.
no, I want you, no, I
Allow
want,
me between
no,
the
no,
slides.
no, I want you two guys to sit together.
No, we'll see in the chat. We'll confuse you.
Okay,
Then you can't back us.
then I can't leave. You got me tacked again, huh?
We do. We gotta keep you honest here.
So Peggy Noguera is the acting committee chairman.
No, sorry, I'm the secretary. I'm the
Oh,
acting
secretary, okay. And you're also the co-chair of the Council of Aging.
I am.
And you want to say a few words on question number one.
I do. Most important thing I'm just saying is that please go out and vote. We're very lucky we live in this town. I'm very appreciative of the Brothers of the Brush for holding this. Most of you in the room, I've seen you either going out and speaking about this, or I know you from the senior center, or I know your family. That's the wonderful thing about Mendon. I mean, I've been here 45 years and I've never regretted the move. In 2011, I walked into the senior center to volunteer and I never left. So I can tell you firsthand that I've seen a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of people who have been turned away because we don't have enough space for them to come. I've seen veterans having to be turned away for the veterans breakfast. It just isn't right. We started this procedure in 2014. Regardless of what some people say about it, really hasn't been thought out. Believe me, it has. It started in 2014. This is our third attempt, and they say 3 times is a charm. So our fingers are crossed. I look here and I see some members of the committee, and I really appreciate everything that they've offered and that they've given to this. We've really worked very hard on this. The main question that people ask, besides the tax impact, which I will get to, is that why is it a community center and a senior center? Why isn't it just one? Well, we started thinking about the things that we do, and we found out that we really provide so much service to the community, not just to the seniors. People don't understand this, but if there's ever an emergency in town, the senior center, whose capacity is 65, is the place where people would go to in emergency. And the reason why they would do that is because we have a generator, and we have the food pantry, and we have the emergency beds. Now, who are we going to turn away if it's an emergency? We don't want to have to do that. We know we need more space. We also do veterans support. We do food stamp applications. We do fuel assistance applications. These are all things that we do for the town, all the townspeople. We have evening programs. But our senior center, if any of you have not been there, I would advise you to please go before you vote. Just take a look and see what we're working with. my hat's off to Kevin Rudden, who spoke at the town meeting, because he stated a fact that it's true, and a lot of people don't realize this. The town gave us that parcel of land, but that's all we got. It was volunteers. We have a beautiful plaque in the senior center with everybody's name on it who built that building. And they built a small addition 17 years later. But we have outgrown that building. It doesn't serve the seniors, and it doesn't serve the community. So I'm asking you, first of all, to vote. You're going to vote the way you want to vote, but I'm asking for your support if you're able to support question 1, because it's really time to do this. The tax impact, which people are always been asking me, why did it lower so much? The chief can probably speak to that because he did at the town meeting, but the original figures that we put out, which was 300 to 350, was what we were told when we started this committee a year ago. That's before any debt fell off or any other changes in assessments or whatever. So we're using as an average the assessed value of a house of $500,000. And if your home is assessed at $500,000, you would be impacted by $149.81 a year, or $37.45 when you get your quarterly tax bill. So we're asking for you to think about that and think about how you'll change the lives, not only of the seniors, but of the town as well. Anyone who was at the town meeting saw that we had recreational facilities, that CPA funds are going to be used for that. And it'll be available to the townspeople, and the building will be available to the townspeople.
Good, thank you, Peg. Chief, you want to add something to it?
Yeah, sure, I can add to it. So, as Peg said, we've been working on the committee. The committee was formed unofficially probably like 18 months ago, and officially more like a year ago. The committee's been working very hard on it. We've had representatives from every aspect of the town, right? From seniors to people who had nothing to do with the senior center initially, to select board members. And it was really a collaborative effort to figure out what we need for this town. And it goes with the capital planning. Back in 2018, we built the police station. We started to manage our debt a little bit better. Every town carries debt. You have to carry debt to maintain your capital. If you don't have a debt level, then everything in the town goes to waste, and then it becomes a bigger problem. Then your taxes really do jump all over the place once you start funding debt. So we tried to the town tried to establish a debt level, about a decade ago. And the idea is that when certain projects fall off, that's your capital investment. When a project falls off, you should put another capital investment into it. So when we built the police station, the board at the time looked at what's the next capital project that's really necessary in this town, and what should we start looking at? So right when the police station was approved, the senior center was already started to be looked at, because when you look at a project for any type of building in town, you're looking at minimum 4 to 6 years to get that project to a vote. So it's important that we start to go with capital planning, as people have mentioned here, that you have to start planning ahead of time. So that process, we looked at it and then we said, hey, when's the next debt coming off? And the debt's going to be coming off, with this year and next year. So that this is the time to do your next capital project, and to go to the senior center. That committee, our committee, we really looked at initially just the senior center. But when we really started breaking down everything that Peg listed, we realized we don't just have a senior center down there. That really is a community center and a senior center that we're trying to jam into a small building. That building, you have a family of 5 or 6, they wouldn't even be able to live in there. It's too small. But we stick all the seniors in there. We stick all the community events in there, the veterans in there. We use it for emergency management. It's served its purpose for the time that we've had it. But we really need to invest in our community. And I mean, any great community, a great society, they always invest in their young, and bring them along, because you're investing in your future. And then the other aspect of it, you always respect and take care of your elders. So I look at, we do invest in our schools here. We do invest in, and we all support it together, and we should. But now is the time also to invest in our seniors and our elders who have been here, who have lived here a long time, and the rest of the community too. Because after COVID, a lot of things have changed. The world's changed. We know prices have changed, everything's more expensive, but along with that, we have isolation. And it doesn't just affect the elderly, it affects everybody. There are people who are isolated, there are people who don't have anywhere to go, there are people who need services. And I think this center on both sides, as a community center and a senior center, is going to help that population that's in need. It's a strong outreach, and for the price that we're looking at our taxes, I'm more than happy to support that outreach, because I may not use it, but I think everybody here probably knows someone that could use it and could use the services that they provide, which are important to our community. We put it on it's on the town land. A lot that has come up too. You know, why did we pick that spot? We did a long evaluation. We looked at all the properties we had in town. We looked at the existing property, and it really came out that to be financially prudent and good stewards of the town's finances, that was the best place to put it financially. So that's why we went forward with that, and we did cut it down too. There was an estimate back in 2019 with the original building, it was going to be a little bit bigger. They would try to stick it on that site there. That building now would be $19 million. So we've cut it down. It's actually smaller than the original building, but that just shows you with inflation. If you keep waiting, this building, 13 million today, 4 years from now will be a $20 million building. So the importance of having a debt level is you identify the capital needs that you have and then act on them when you can. Because then by the time you're into this, 6-7 years, the next capital is going to be dropping off, and we pick the next project. And, you know, I served on the building committee for the police station, obviously, because I was the chief at the time. And I really believe in the senior center. When I became lieutenant and came days, I started spending a lot of time down there about 10 years ago. I served at the Veterans Dinner. I served lunches down there. I try to spend a lot of time down there because I think community is important. Anywhere you can, you should, you know, give what you can. My wife thinks I need a hobby, but my hobby is this. It's helping out the community. You know, I love Mendon. I've been here a long time. I don't plan on going anywhere. I plan on living here the rest of my life. So why not invest now and make sure we do something for the
Good.
future?
I want to thank you, but I've been watching the screen and your chairman over there.
Oh, he's
Look
itching to
at
say
him.
something.
He is smiling that you guys did such a great job.
Chopping at the bit. Who you
He's
kidding?
chopping at the bit. Do you want to say a few words, Bud?
Yeah, I think, can you hear me there?
Yes.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'd like to say is Peg and Dave really expressed our whole committee's feelings. It's been a real pleasure working with this group for the past 18 months. And they really show their dedication and drive to the town of Mendon. I just want to thank them for expressing all of our thoughts so well tonight. And I would urge everybody to, as Peg said, vote, no matter where you stand, but you should always go out and vote. And I do believe this project is going to be an excellent resource for the entire community. And Dave and Peg, thank you, as all the other representatives of the committee. You've worked hard. You've done a great job. Thank you.
Thank you for your service, and thank you to your committee. A great job. And thank you guys for
I'll
for
just
giving
leave
us
these in case anybody wants.
yeah,
to
if
take one.
anybody wants some on the office. All right.
Does
Does
anybody-
anybody have any questions
Jason?
to ask?
I do have one question. David Capone, 56 Blackstone Street. On the new senior center, is that could be a wood or a steel and concrete structure?
I think it's going to be a concrete and wood. So obviously you're going to have a basement that's
Like
that's
a
at the
wood
bottom, the
veneer?
rest be wood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But structurally steel and concrete?
well, obviously the foundation, the lower level. I don't know exactly the top level, but I imagine it's a wood structure.
Because
I
I was on the building committee in Norfolk and I joined it. We built a good sized town hall. I mean, it was 20,000 feet, maybe 10, I forget. And I just joined it at the end, but it was a wood, they built it out of wood because they thought steel would be ugly with a wood veneer. They didn't understand that when it went through, you know, planning and all that stuff. And it was just a problematic project, which at the end of it costs about $250,000 a year just in maintenance because it's wood. And it keeps
Oh, you talk about the outside side. So outside side.
structurally.
Structurally, it's going to be wood, but it's going to be up to, I mean, the outside 2 levels are going to be wood. The outside, you know, the bottom level is concrete. It's a, you know, like a basement. And then wood, but then you have vinyl siding, and it's
But
going to be made up to the efficiency codes now. So, you know, obviously 2x6 construction is going to be sealed properly. It's going to be sided, the whole bit to make up the energy code. We're a stretch community. So we have in a green community, so it's gonna have to be built up to tight regulations.
Yeah,
And I
plus
actually
the
don't
new
think, I
buil-
don't think most steel buildings like garages can be built up to actually green.
Well, no, I just meant
regulation.
I meant for fire and disaster.
Yep.
If it's wood, it's, wood is a better insulation, but you can
Yeah.
steel and concrete, you can make it very well insulated.
Yeah.
Plus, it's good for disasters, hurricanes, stuff
Yep.
like that.
Yeah.
Where-
We had a hand up. Please.
Jason.
My question's easy. So legally, we had to put some complicated language on the ballot. So yes, everybody should come out and vote, but if somebody wants to vote in favor, what do they vote? It's a yes, no question on the ballot. So if they want to vote in favor, they should vote
Yes,
yes. Okay, that's it.
thank you for that clarification.
Anybody else?
It's important.
Tommy, anybody on the?
And with the ballot, just real quick too, so it says, the ballot's a yes or no, but at the town meeting, it was a $13.2 million figure. So that is the figure completed, done, finished. There are contingencies that could make it cheaper. There's grants that we've already started getting money for. So the spending is up to that amount. And we're great that we have a good financial team in place that we don't borrow in one lump sum. And that's why the numbers have changed to it, figuring out debt. Debt is always changing. So you have to figure out your complete debt, and bonds are always changing. So it's a continuous thing to figure out where your rates are at and where your debt is at. Same thing with this. If we're going up to 13.2, if we spend 12, if we spend 12 and a half, if we get a big grant for 2 million, we won't borrow that much. That impacts will be less, and it leaves more space down the road for more dropping.
Another project.
If that's not too
Another project.
confusing. But we wanted to make sure that you had the number of the worst case scenario. This is what we need to borrow to build this building, no matter what.
Well, we thank you both. Thank all of you. I declare the candidates evening closed. Thank you. Have a good trip, and don't forget to vote.
Mr. MC.
Uh-oh.
Well, I gotta,
Is it on the ballot?
that's not on the,
Is this it?
yeah, but he didn't respond. Hey, Eric,
Are you Eric Brown?
Eric, did you respond to anybody? Well, why don't you come on up? We'll open this up again.
All right, everybody, stick around. We have another candidate.
Come on up, Eric.
Everyone online, don't go anywhere.
Eric, tell us about yourself,
All right.
other than we didn't have you on the agenda.
Well, I think.
Another pleasant surprise, Mr. MC.
All right, real quick. My name is Eric Brown. I grew up in Minden, graduated from Nipmonk, was gone for about 10 years, and then moved back to town to raise my family in the same area that I grew up. I've got two boys, one in middle school, one in high school. It was about 3 years ago. It was, I guess, the weekend before we had the vote, and we decided to have an impromptu cookout at our house. And we're all together talking about who's going to run for school committee. By the time the night was over, my friend's family decided that I should run for school committee, and I agreed. It's always good to give back to your town. I have got a MBA in finance and thought I could help out with budgeting and planning and all that other kind of stuff. So real quick, started 3 years ago in the school committee. If you quick first few meetings, we had an override vote at my first meeting. Superintendent resigned on the second meeting. Override vote on the third meeting, joint town meeting. And then we had to figure out what to do with COVID. And I was thinking to myself, this is fun. But fortunately, I stuck it out, and it got a lot better. And I think over the last few years, we've done a lot of great things as a school committee. We've got a very strong leadership team within the school. I've participated on the finance committee, been a participant in the capital planning committee, and really proud of the things that we've done, the financial and fiscal controls that we've had over time. There's still a lot of work left to be done, and so I'm good to sign up for another 3 years if folks are interested in having me. And I think we can continue on some of the success we've had over the past few years.
Guys have done a great job up there. Anybody have any questions of Eric? What do you foresee in the next couple of years would be something that we're going to be faced with on as far as school building and school stuff?
Yeah, that's a good question. we've got a capital plan underway that we're very close to being able to share with the town members. If you look at our schools, right, we know we've got one, old school being the middle school. And then we've got 3 other buildings that we think about being kind of brand new, our 2 elementary schools and the high school. But in reality, all 3 of those buildings are facing 25 years old. And they're going through things that houses go through at 25 years old, right? New roofs, new furnaces, water heaters, et cetera. And so we brought in a third party about a year ago to help us do an assessment across the 4 buildings to figure out what it's going to take to, get these buildings in tip-top shape for the next 20, 25 years. And so right now we're going through the priorities, looking for opportunities for grants, state assistance, et cetera. And, we'll be coming back to the town members to share, what a plan looks like. But I think unfortunately, there's going to be a fair amount of capital investment needed, to keep these facilities going.
Any other questions? Any questions? Tom, anybody?
Anybody is joined remotely have a question for Eric? No, not see any hands raised.
When's graduation?
Graduation, June.
When is it? Oh, is it June 1st?
Yeah, coming up.
Good luck.
Good luck. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sorry for the mix-up.
We handled it well in this room, city.
We're done, right?
Anyone else?